You're now listening to episode 100 of Signed In, an Xbox 360 podcast, recorded on September 9th, 2012. Find us online at signedinpodcast.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Signed In. I am Jeremy Superfro, 33.
I'm Craig Profdresser.
And I'm Sean Shonix.
And thanks everybody for our brief break and sticking with us.
That's right.
Hopefully, maybe they're not even going to listen to this.
Well, they're missing out.
Are they?
Yes.
We haven't even done the show
We
yet.
got
Can we
3
say
digits
that?
on this episode.
We did have 3 digits.
They're totally missing out.
I'm showing you 2 digits right now.
Oh.
Hey,
Is that 2 or 11?
However you want to take it. It is episode 100. Episode 100 of Signed In, and we've made it.
Yay.
you guys did.
We did. That's true.
There's still an asterisk next.
We're not
to
having
me.
another
No.
anniversary for you, like 10 episodes down the
I
road.
will.
And it is one day past our 4-year anniversary, so it's
That's
all
awesome.
in one.
That's awesome.
Not yours either, but
No, for the show, I think that's a great achievement for the show.
it is.
Yes,
I guess.
I do.
And you all forgot it, so I'm going to make you feel guilty.
I didn't forget
Not
it.
you. I'm talking to listeners.
Oh. I thought you were yelling at me. No, yeah, you're right. Thanks, listeners. Actually, no, I did have something here I wanted to tell you because Lunchbox 700 on Twitter,
Yes.
Spicoli Driver on our forums, who
Correct.
we'd mentioned on the show before,
Yes.
sent me a message on Twitter, and he went through and counted up all the games we talked about.
Oh, my God.
I know, right?
What?
Insane. That guy needs a hobby.
Thanks, John. Jeez, man.
So in the 100 episodes, and this was his best estimate he could give us because
Now,
we didn't...
Did he cut out duplicate games?
I believe so. These are, I
Okay.
think, individual games.
Because that's like a dozen off just for...
Those rats.
That's right. I know, right? Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I think these are individual, though, or like not duplicate.
Got it.
Retail titles, 247.
What?
Retail titles. 196 XBLA and 359 indie games.
Yeah.
In 100 episodes.
That's awesome.
Is it?
I like that balance.
That is awesome. I think that's a great.
It's pretty heavy on the indie side.
Yeah,
It's good.
yeah.
So
I
thank
like
you,
that.
John, for letting us know that information. We appreciate
Yes.
it. And thanks for listening to the show, obviously. Everybody who has and continues to. We're back. We had a short little extended break.
Yep.
Yes.
But we are all back and ready to go, aren't we?
I'm primed.
I'm
Optimus primed.
You are primed. You made me push that button a couple times before we started.
That's right.
At least
Yeah.
that's what you told me
You had
was
to
going
flip
on.
some switches first.
I guess. They were weird switches, but they made a noise.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, but we're all back, and so how's everybody doing?
Good.
Excellent.
Good?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
played some games
Ready and raring to go. Yes.
in the last couple of weeks?
Correct.
What'd
I
you play?
played some games,
What did you play? What some games did you play?
but I'll tell you what, Darksiders kept most of my time.
Okay.
To be totally honest with you, I just
Is this confessional time?
yeah,
Sort of.
Yeah, it's been what? It's been two weeks since last time.
I believe that.
But no, it was really that game sucked up a lot of my time, and then I did dabble in a couple other XBLA games, but and a couple other disc games. But one I tried out was that Plants vs Zombies for
Pinball FX?
Pinball FX.
Cool.
I had to stop what I was doing to try that one out. So
Awesome.
and some Rock Band Blitz. Because
Nice.
you were talking all about that, so I dove in that for a little bit, and then I got back out as soon as I could. But we'll get to that. But yeah, and some Transformers. Yeah,
Cool.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
I got plenty of Transformers
Good.
Fall of Cybertron. And then I gave a shot at pretty much everything that came out at XBLA the past 3 weeks. I don't think I'm going to talk about everything that came out on XBLA.
You
but-
are going to talk about everything.
Oh, my God.
Get ready.
that crazy fighting game,
Which one?
the Jojo Mobo's.
Oh,
Adventure
actually, I
or
didn't try
whatever.
that one. Yeah.
Good.
Because it was just a straight-up fighting game. I'm
Yeah,
like, meh.
and don't.
I did try the dog fights, 1942, but
Oh,
Oh, I forgot that even came out.
yeah.
I've been lost. I've been doing so much other stuff.
You know how you find these things out? You go to the marketplace.
I know, but I haven't been... Okay. I finished up Sleeping Dogs.
Yes.
So I'll have that. And then everything else you guys talked about,
Right.
including some Walking Dead episode 3.
Correct.
Which we have to talk about as
Yes.
well.
nice.
But I don't know. I've been playing those.
We're gonna
things.
spoil it and then each have a different spoiler.
Oh, we're not gonna spoil anything.
I haven't made it through 2 yet. So,
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
What?
Might wanna
I
leave
know.
it around
It's going to happen tomorrow.
You know
I'll
what
get
you
it all
do?
done tomorrow.
When we're talking about it, just like plug your ears and go no, 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 no,
No, I'll be
Into
all
the
right.
mic.
into the mic.
I don't mind. That's fine.
It'd be awesome. You would mind if I told you. You don't want to know
But I know you.
that I wouldn't do it.
Would you spoil it out?
Maybe
on
I
the show?
would right now.
Really? Really?
Maybe. It's a new. I'm turning a new leaf. I'm ruining everything, motherfuckers.
Well,
Episode 100. It's all on the table.
you do that enough.
I'm ruining the show
Hey-o.
and the games. All right, should we jump in?
Let's do
back.
it.
Start with some indie.
Yeah, just a couple indie games for us this episode.
Yeah, and it's all Craig.
And they're both awesome platformers.
Cool.
So first up, I'm going to hit this one first because it's kind of a touchback, I guess. Oozi Earth Adventure Episode 4 finishes out the Oozi Earth Adventure. This is the last episode, so I highly recommend you go out and pick up all 4 episodes for $4, basically, because each one's only 80 Microsoft points. From Awesome Games Studio, yet again. If you haven't heard me talk about Oozi before, it is a great platformer. Excellent art design, excellent sound design. After that first one, they got rid of that idea of having Oozi say, "Here we go," every time you died and restarted, because that got a little frustrating in some points.
Here we go.
Yeah. Well, that would have been
It wouldn't have been Mario.
Yeah,
It
no,
wasn't that-
no. It was a little more frustrating. I think they got some feedback and they went back and retroactively
That's
changed
nice.
that. So, and this is the 4th adventure, so you have all the abilities that you gained in the first 3 adventures, and then apparently there's going to be some new ones. Ironically, this is the one episode that does not take place on Earth. Even though it's Oozi Earth Adventure.
Nice.
It's on this weird organic planet where everything's all slimy and goopy and stuff. Yeah. It's actually pretty cool, the level designs and stuff. So I like to imagine it. Speaking of Mario, I like to imagine it's like, what if the backgrounds for Mario 3 were real? You know how they had the hills with faces and stuff like that. So I haven't gotten too far into it. It only came out a few days ago, and these can take a little time. Again, Oozi is a great platformer because it is basic enough that, you know, if you're rudimentary in platformers, you can get into it. But if you want to really search around and find everything and then do the hardcore mode and do the challenge rooms and all that stuff, there's plenty for experienced platformers to enjoy in there as well.
Cool.
And what's great too is that if you're checking it out, like if somebody's looking at that now for the first time, like that 4, there's 3 other games they can go back and check
exactly.
out, which is awesome.
Precisely. And I do want to give them a plug because when I started up the game, there was a little ad there because if you are familiar with Steam, the distributor for PC games online, they just launched their Greenlight. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah.
Where it's basically a clearinghouse for indie games, small publishers to kind of put their stuff up there, and then people vote on whether or not they will be sold on Steam. And Oozi Earth Adventure is now going to be on Greenlight. Awesome. So if you have a Steam account, I would encourage you to go on there and vote them up, please.
There you go.
Because it's a very good game. I don't know if they're planning on releasing it as 4 separate episodes. I imagine they probably stuck them all together
Bundle
or
it
something
all,
like that.
yeah.
I would hope they did that. No, just because that would be more attractive
right.
than trying to get 4 separate games green-lighted.
Exactly.
Greenlit, that's the word.
Or lighted.
Lighted, green lout.
I don't think that's it.
was green lout.
I know that.
So please get it Greenlout and check it out. And again, you can go back to just the first episode, pay 80 points. You know, that's several hours of gameplay right there. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to pick up the other ones.
I don't think I still have finished the first episode, but I bought it.
The second one was a bit of a challenge at the end. The boss battle was, that was a toughie.
So that's one I've always wanted to go back to, and now that I know they're done, maybe that will entice me a little bit more. But probably not.
I hope so.
I know. I own 2 of them, and I've played only 1 of them.
It's a really good game.
Yeah,
it's a really good game.
Cool.
Another really good platform that just recently came out is Faceplant Adventures, which also sells for 80 points from Oddworm Games. That is correct.
Yeah.
As you play as Florence Faceplant, who is basically he looks like, you know, Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors, like if you cut off the stem, and he just kind of hops around and slides around and all that stuff. This is a more challenging platformer, I would say that. It's not that beginning platformers couldn't get into it, but there are definitely a lot more elements to this. And it might just be because I'm searching around for a lot of stuff, but it's got a lot of really great elements, like the introduction of a ceiling slide, like in narrow passages, like you can jump and you hold the jump button for a little bit and he'll slide across the ceiling, you know, only for a little bit until he loses momentum and he falls, or he could drop it and fall. So, you know, there are all these tight passages with like spikes on the bottom and slime on the top and all that stuff. So you have to
slide on the ceiling.
Yeah, slide on the ceiling and drop off at right points and then jump back up and all that. And, you know, there's, you know, it's got a double jump in there. You gain new abilities basically every level, I think is the way it's working. I'm about halfway through the game now. But they also have a float ability, so you can kind of just float around to land on locations.
Cool.
There's some rail sliding, kind of similar to what happened in Ms. Explosion Man.
Okay, yeah.
Where you're going like super fast and all that. And
nice.
There's some great sequences in Faceplant
awesome.
Adventures where you get flying around and you have to bounce off walls and then double jump and then float. And they have some really cool sequence stuff going on in there. And then they have a bunch of button puzzles where you'll have a bunch of walls. And a lot of times the button puzzles are not mandatory. Like they're for bonus things, or there might be like in the first level there's like a get out of jail free button basically. If you don't want to do the button puzzle, you can just press that one and go on. Because they can be kind of tricky. You know, they're those kind of things where you hit a button and a wall disappears, but sometimes, you know, when you make a wall appear or disappear, it affects a different wall too. So you have to get the right sequence going in order to get all the walls gone or all the walls in appearance or whatever you need out of there. So some real challenge, some real brain teasers there. And the whole thing's being timed, but the time is just kind of for prestige, basically.
Like a leaderboard kind of setting?
Yeah,
or
basically.
Or give yourself something to go against later.
Yeah, and there are little clocks all throughout, and you can pick them up, and they reduce your time if you pick them up, or you can just run past them. So you can go around searching for them, or you can ignore them, or what's probably best is just to grab them as you're moving along.
Yeah.
But what's really neat is that it's ranked in different levels. You know, gold, silver, platinum, or gold, silver, bronze. There is a platinum, but you have to be playing on like the harder difficulties to get that.
Okay.
But what's neat is that the clock, both in the corner and the little clocks that you're picking up, change color depending on if you were to finish the game right now. That's the medal that you would get.
Oh, nice.
So they start off gold,
you always
then
know
they
where
switch
you're at.
silver. Yeah.
Nice.
So once they turn bronze, I'm like, fuck it.
Who cares?
I've got that one no matter what. Let's stick around for some leaves.
That's awesome.
There doesn't really seem to be any primary plot whatsoever. It's just kind of Florence is wandering around and goes to new areas. So don't come looking for story or anything like that, but it's got excellent visuals and great audio design. The music on there is fantastic.
Cool.
And definitely worth the 80 points.
Awesome. That it for indie then, right?
That is it. Yes.
We can move on to XBLA?
We can, at long last.
Oh, you know what? Actually, before we get on indie, just to remind everybody that Indie Uprising starts
starting
this week.
Today, right, the day that this
When you're
episode's
hearing
releasing. Yeah.
And for 2 weeks, right?
That's correct. And
One a day?
apparently you can get everything for a total of $11.
That's what it all totals out
is
to.
ridiculous.
So
And there's some good ones in there.
And we haven't talked about it yet, so we'll either have those on the next episode or we may do a separate show like we have in the past for Indie Uprising. So look for that. We'll let you guys know what we're doing with it.
Yeah. At $11, I think I might just try to pick them all up.
Yeah, just to support
Regardless.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
at that point.
That's not too bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And you know the whole Uprising thing, it is a mark anyway of quality as far as like the kind of games that they get
Most
in there.
definitely.
Because there's a lot of folks that want to be in there,
Right.
And it's usually the choice ones that are getting picked. I said choice like it was 1982.
Now, if you go to check them out and you see something that doesn't really sit with you, that doesn't mean ignore all the rest of them, because
That's true, too.
The uprisings are also marked by diversity.
Yes.
And they try to get as wide a variety of games in there. So there are bound to be some games that aren't really up your alley.
Yeah.
But there are also probably going to be some really awesome ones that are. So just because you see one, that doesn't
Don't
appeal
judge
to you,
all of them on
exactly.
one.
They're not all going to be the same. So there you go. But they'll all be high quality.
Yes. For sure. All right, XBLA.
Okay.
Anything we want to touch back on from last episode?
I guess we could touch back really quick on Kung Fu Strike, which came out officially
Strike
from QOOC Soft. That's what it is. You try to pronounce that. 800 Microsoft points. Sean talked about it a little bit on the last episode. And so, you know, I actually wanted to talk to you about this, Sean, because there are a couple things that rubbed me the wrong way, and I weren't sure.
You're the professor.
It sounds like me.
I weren't sure.
You're quoting me on this?
Yes.
He's talking to his audience, like literally.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I understand exactly what you're saying. You don't have to correct yourself, Craig. I got it.
If these things were problems specifically with the demo, or if they were true for the full game.
Okay.
So one was just kind of the story. Do they build it up at all? Like, because they just jumped straight into him going to like you talked about going to the different temples and all that stuff. I didn't find out till like 4 cutscenes later that the dude was a general or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's the way it is in the regular game too.
Pretty much that's what it is.
Okay.
It's just like I need to talk to the master. You can't talk to the master.
Yeah,
and then
but
now
there's no background as to who you are. Or
not
whatsoever.
really. Not that I'm aware of.
That's what I thought.
Is that a problem number one?
That was problem number one. The other one, actually,
what am I doing?
I'm pretty sure is
Like,
demo specific, although I may have just been stupid because I was unable to purchase any abilities, which seemed like
That'd probably be
a shortcoming
Yeah.
for the demo. Just because then because there was like 3 or 4 levels in the demo, but I was just kind of stuck doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, because this was a review copy, so I didn't even and the demo wasn't out at the time, so I didn't even play the demo at the time. But yeah, that is kind of weird that you couldn't even buy.
I may be wrong. I may have
or-
missed something, but I figured it would come up at the end of the level or something. Where do you usually purchase it?
I can't even. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't even think when you could.
Because it didn't give me any sort of tutorial for it or whatnot.
Yeah, I think it was at the end of the levels you could upgrade.
One thing that I thought was kind of weird about the game was that it really rewards precision gameplay. Because it's got things like, deflecting attacks and all that. And, it was pretty cool when you could do that.
Yeah.
And when you're doing one-on-one battles, that's not too bad.
Okay.
However,
Yep.
at least half the time in the demo, you're getting attacked by a swarm of dudes.
That's exactly that's kind of what rubbed me the wrong. Like at first I was having really fun with like playing, like if there's 3 guys on screen and a couple would back off a little bit. And as the games, yeah, exactly.
There was one time where 3 dudes with long bow staffs were attacking me, and I'm like, I can't block any of these things because I have no idea where I was spending most of my battles jumping, attacking because that's the only way I could keep track of where I was.
Where I ended up where I kind of quit on the game, I wouldn't call it a rage quit because I wasn't too upset when I quit. I was like, I'm going to return to this because this is just weird. And it was when there's like 3 or 4 at one time, like hitting me with a stick, and I just felt like I can't.
Well, that was the most frustrating point for me too.
And it's just like, I'm like, okay, thank you, but like when you
that should have been an achievement. Like, yes, please, may I have another?
Exactly.
Beat with a stick.
Oh, you do. I mean, it's just like constant. So like
redheaded stepchild.
The thing I had is like you'd fight like the main guy at the end of the level because he'd be sitting there on his throne,
right.
And then once you took out some guys, he'd come down and fight him.
That was pretty cool.
So then you'd fight him, but the problem is like if you didn't kill him and you killed like the staff guys, other staff guys would just jump in.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, wait. So I would like take time.
So it's not like you could clear them out and then deal with the guy.
Yeah.
You had to deal with everybody.
You had to then you had to focus on the big guy, but then here's the staff guy hitting you on the back of the head. You're like, stop, dude, time out.
And there was unexpected things for the combat too, like in that battle with the boss guy. You'd have to hold down the B button for a certain period of time while they go through a sequence of like him blocking your moves and you attacking. And then there'd be like a half second for you to press A real quick. And if you didn't do that, then you're going to get punched.
Yeah.
And it's so, that's again, going towards that precision. And in the one-on-one battles, I could see myself improving in that. But in the big swarm battles, especially with that angle for things,
the angle,
because dudes would get in front of me or in between me and the camera and stuff, and so it was kind of difficult.
Almost has that old school gaming style where you're kind of moving up on the screen, but you're like, am I close to hitting them yet?
Right,
you're like swinging, and then like a stick would hit you, and you're like, oh, I guess we're close enough now. Even though I missed them every time. Yeah. I'm a little like, there's parts about that game I enjoyed and I thought were fun. I
thought there was a lot of potential in there. I just didn't quite care for it.
Yeah.
All right, Walking Dead.
Okay.
Should we jump in?
Okay, let's do it.
Since that's a continuation of a game.
Spoilers.
I'm going to ruin everything.
I'm telling you, if I told you my story, you'd probably be like, that is completely different from mine.
I'd be interested to know. We should talk about it afterwards in quiet.
Quiet.
Do you have a closet we can go in?
I got a cone of silence.
Well, if there's that's the thing about this game that I like is that there are different ways. Essentially, it's going to end probably the same way, but characters might not come along, or characters may.
No, I don't know.
I'm curious. I would like to know if I would have done something in episode 1. What would even be what we would be at the point of right now?
Right. Well, yeah. Here's the thing: is that it's
hard to talk about.
Craig called it an airstrike.
He did. Is that what happened in your game? You called it an airstrike?
So
I did submarine.
Basically, this kind of goes around a really bad day, and there are a lot of really tough choices on this day.
That's awesome.
Well, here's the thing. In episode 2, there was brutal choices.
There was brutal choices, but
this doesn't seem like you have a lot of say in what's happening. It's more of a responding to things that are happening.
Right.
And it's fucking brutal.
Right.
Like, it's worse than episode 2.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But you don't have
kind
any
of out
hand
of
in
control. Yeah.
In the second one, you had a hand in some terrible decisions. You had to, like, make yes or no.
Right.
Or, like, do this or don't do this.
Right.
And in this one, it's like, this is going to happen. How do you want it to play out?
Plus, those were more external sorts of choices.
Yeah.
And these are very different. But
it's a much more emotional chapter.
Well, I think one of the reasons why is because by episode 3, we're carrying a lot of weight now.
That's true.
By this point, there are a lot of decisions that I made before. They do a bit of a recap at the beginning there for some of your important decisions from the previous couple episodes, and other options came up during choices that had flashbacks all the way back to episode 1 and stuff like that. And so, it's just there's a lot of emotional baggage between the characters. And what I really like is that it's really solidifying basically the way that I play as Lee. Just because, I get into these choices and I'm like, I can't stay consistent with what I've done before, and so I'm like, I am being consistent, an internal consistency to me, but it's like I can't play the game. You know what I mean? I can't do the Paragon route or something.
I
like
got what
that.
you're saying, and maybe this is. Let me know if I'm misunderstanding, but this is how I felt when I was playing through this one. I kind of kept up this air through the first and second episode where I'm giving people information. I'm trying to be friendly. I'm trying to help everybody out. I'm really kind of not, because you have the option to kind of be upfront with people about who you are as a character and like what's going on with you in the past. And then I've kind of always like skirted around. And I got to this point in this episode, and I don't know if it was supposed to flow this way or if it was just brilliantly done and I wasn't aware of it and it was happening without me being aware. Where I was just like, fuck, who's got time to keep up with this shit anymore? Here's everything that happens.
Right.
And and I know that some of it was orchestrated, but it's also like me as a player, I was like, I'm with these people, we're surviving. Shit doesn't matter anymore. I'm just going to be up front, and this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm going to deal with it in a real way. And it's just like, this is just how it is. I'm laying it all out there, and you're moving on.
Right.
And that's totally what it felt like for me when I was playing it. And it felt like it made sense as the transition from me playing from episode 1, where it's like, you just get to a breaking point where you're like, all right, this is it.
Yeah.
We cool now? Look all the shit we've been through. Like, this doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So it was interesting. Is that what you're kind of like alluding to?
Because along those lines, yeah.
I felt like I was doing it, but I kind of feel like the game's controlling it that way, and it just makes you feel like you're experiencing it that way, where I'm making this decision. But there are things you could have done. I could have done a different path on it.
I got chastised for making one choice toward the end of the episode that I was kind of frustrated because I didn't realize I was making a choice. I thought I was going to be able to do all of it.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, and me too.
And the way that the screen setup kind of led me to just do the immediate thing that was directly in front of me, and so then I'm like, I didn't even realize I was making a choice, and I can justify my choice if you give me an opportunity.
Right.
But the game didn't. So
exactly,
it's like, oh, now you have to live with these consequences. I'm like, what? Why are these consequences?
I agree with you, and I hated that scene.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about, because it was kind of cheap.
Yeah.
In the way that it just happens all like really quick, and I didn't have a chance to like.
No.
And then all of a sudden I'm getting yelled at, and I'm like, well, fuck, I thought I was gonna.
Yeah. Yeah,
man,
me too.
I can't wait.
It is a brutal episode, though. It is.
Cool.
It is really brutal. It's
rough.
It's those emotional issues of the comic where you like all of a sudden, there's a lot of action adventure, and you have this wind down where everybody's kind of has this emotional dealings with. And then, like, real life hits it on some of those occasions, and that's what this whole episode is. It's kind of wind down, but there's other shit going on.
I like this one a whole lot more than the last one. Now, this has been my favorite episode so far.
I would agree with you. It's definitely the most, honest, like, emotionally appealing to me. Yeah. So, $5
stuff.
You should all be checking it out. Like, it's just an awesome.
And they seem to have fixed the sort of editing problems that they had last time.
I guess I still had some. I thought I was still some
There was
stutter.
a tiny bit of like when it had to go from like quick shot. There was a little bit of times where I'm like,
everything's paused.
Yeah.
And then something happens.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, it wasn't nearly as bad as like.
You didn't get stuck on the swing?
No, I didn't get stuck on the swing. And I felt like in episode 2, it was like every scene change, it was like it did that.
Yeah.
But it seemed kind of restricted to a few areas.
Cool.
But it was funny when it started up because I was crossing my fingers and it said previously on The Walking Dead.
And then there was
like 5 seconds of pause. And I'm like, no!
I still hate that about the game. I still hate that about the game when you initially boot it up and you like hit start and it just sits there for a second. And there's no like loading notification. There's no nothing. And I'm like,
am I frozen?
Look, it's been a long time since there seems to have been like that whole like issue with the Xboxes breaking and freezing.
I still get freezes.
I've noticed that. I've noticed that with some game, a lot of other XBLA games, regular games, even when you're just hitting stuff on the dashboard, it's like since that update. Even though I have the beta, before that, the update is like you'd hit it and it would just kind of sit there.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't do the circle thing; it'd just sit there. So I'm like hitting my button again, and I'm like, "What's happening?" And then it would load like Netflix. And I'm like, "Okay, why did?"
Sometimes it has a delay,
but it's just I've noticed that in games as well as just all around. So I don't know.
So it used to scare me a lot more.
Yeah.
But, that doesn't happen as often for me anymore. It's still.
I usually attribute it to the game itself rather than thinking my Xbox is dying these days.
I still have the nervous. What's happening? All right. Well, keeping in the zombie theme, let's talk about some Plants vs. Zombie on Pinball FX.
Yes.
The first PopCap, hopefully first of a few, because I would love to get a Peggle one at some point. But
especially what they did with this game.
Plants vs. Zombies is another fantastic table from Pinball FX, from Zen. However, I found it to be really, really easy.
See, and I see your guys' score, and I noticed like my first ball like I played, and I've seen like I think it's yours and Lunchbox's score. I think it is.
Yeah.
And I was just like, those are huge. And my first ball was like monster points compared to like what I have on other games. And then and then all of a sudden like the table started like fighting against me. Or maybe I was fighting against the table. Like I was trying too hard to hit other things.
Maybe.
But I felt it was like I thought it was a real simple table to play.
It is.
And I thought that brings the fun to it because then the zombies pop up and they're starting to walk towards you, and I love the incorporation of the video game with the pool table too. Because that I dig that.
Did you play Plants vs. Zombies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
So I thought that was really, you hit the sunflower and then like he'll shoot out stuff to take out the zombies, and then there's other things involved too. But
because you are picking up the sun and you're picking up money.
Yeah.
So then you open up the store if you get because the car comes out. I can't. What's that guy? Crazy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I don't know either.
I can't remember
Pothead.
either. He's just like, rah, rah, rah.
We got to hit him like 3 times or something. Well, 2 times, hit both lights, and then the trunk opens.
Yeah, and you get in the trunk, then you can buy things with the money you've saved, and those are other bonuses.
Right.
So you visit the store. So it's just really well incorporated. You have the zombies coming up.
Yeah.
The different modes you kick in. All of a sudden, you're using like coconut balls instead of the regular pinballs.
Yeah.
And you have the zombies that are coming with the traffic cones or the pails, and they take a couple hits to get through. So it's just really well done. I do find it, like you said, really easy. I think. I wonder if that's a strategy because of the PopCap thing. With their whole games being kind of for everybody. It seems like a kind of a table that all ages could play.
I agree.
You could give it to kids.
That's a good way to look at it.
Because it also gives you tons of extra balls that I have no idea how I'm earning them half the time. But I know one play I had like 8 balls that I played.
Oh, really?
It just kept like the multi-ball's really easy to play.
I always get the multi-ball, because that's easy.
There are all these things that are like what people play pinball games for, like easy ramps and multi-ball. And multi-ball happens all the time. It's super easy to trigger. And I think every time you trigger it, you get an extra ball. So like I had like one time I was saying I had like 8 balls that I was playing through, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So it's not a super high scoring game, like on average, like regularly, but you play so long.
Yep.
So it's not one of those tables where I can just jump on for 10 or 15, because if you're even adequate on the games or on the pinball games, you're going to be playing until you basically just fuck up huge.
Yep. Right.
Because you could keep going forever. Some of them are really long games. I wonder if it's a PopCap thing.
To it. But I like that because
I do too.
Because it really shows what the tables can bring and the interactiveness of like the things that happen instead of just using the paddles and the
and it's not super complicated where there's all these really hard modes where you have to figure out what you got to do. And it's,
you know, the Pinball FX folks have been trying to do a wide variety of things. You know, showing a diversity of tables.
Yes.
So
it was a lot like what Epic Quest was bringing to the table, but this one, like you said, just seems a little bit more.
Yeah, because I feel like I always have a ball save.
Yeah.
I feel like I always have the side saves, and it hardly ever goes down there. It's really seems catered towards all ages, which is really good for them, in my opinion. You can hand it to your kids and let them play.
A Pega one.
Pega one would be awesome.
Yep.
I think it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't they have a platform on like iOS and stuff like that?
Yeah,
now?
they're on everything now.
So yeah, I mean they have a wider audience now, so I can definitely see them approaching it from that angle.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't had experience with playing it like on my iPad.
That's
for
something
instance.
everybody's who plays games on like a handheld device is going to recognize. Oh, Plants vs Zombies,
exactly.
And so
it's the iPad crowd that they're going to go for now with that stuff, which is brilliant,
right?
For everybody involved. But I wonder too. It's like I haven't played anything on an iPad. I imagine it wouldn't be as easy as being on the controller. So I wonder if that's also part of the strategy.
Pinball table?
Yeah, because they have the Pinball FX table, games on there. I can't see it working because I'm so strapped into my, the controller that I'm using and my mindset. But, it makes sense on that kind of format to do an easier table that is harder to lose on, basically.
Yeah, but you're also not like an 8-year-old kid with his, with an iPad.
It's true.
iTablet.
I'm not. That you know of.
Yeah.
He's being piloted by one.
So, of course, I recommend it.
iPad.
I recommend it. It's very different than the other ones, but I think it does. It's still a lot of fun, and it's a great way to spend a lot of time on it. And it's 240 points. Check it out.
Yeah.
So there you go. Rock Band Blitz. Sorry for the dramatic pause.
No,
that's all I got left.
I was like, where are we going?
Unless you want to talk about the ninja game.
No, let's talk about Rock Band Blitz.
Rock Band Blitz from Harmonix.
Harmonix.
The Hands of Fate. That's something different, I believe. Manos.
Yes.
Harmanos.
Yeah.
All right. 1,200 points. 1,200 points for Rock Band Blitz.
Which is also DLC.
It is DLC. So it comes with 25 new tracks that are used in Rock Band Blitz. It also uses your entire Rock Band library that you have saved on your hard
stuff,
drive.
Does it use like the import files?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
Anything that's basically put onto your hard drive.
Nice.
So
basically everything except Rock Band 3.
Except Rock Band 3.
Following up, yeah.
Exactly, which they should make an import for. So you could import it to your hard drive.
Oh, they will. Here you go, Rock Band 4. Now you have an import for your Rock Band 3.
We'll see about that. So here's the thing. Even if you don't like Rock Band Blitz, I can't see anybody not buying this game. It's 25 new tracks for $15, which is quite a steal.
Yeah.
Unless you don't like the music, which I don't know. If I bought it just based on the music, maybe I wouldn't so much because there's a lot of tracks on there I don't care for.
They have a wide variety of things.
They do, and it's probably their widest variety yet.
Yeah.
What's that?
Nothing.
What'd you say?
It's been 1 week.
Oh, yeah.
I love that song.
You and your Bare Naked Ladies?
I'm a Bare Naked Ladies fan.
Fanatic. Them and Sublime, right?
Oh,
are those the two?
Sublime.
Oh, no.
I can't believe you didn't throw out 311.
Well, because that's a true one.
Oh, well, not true, but...
You do love 311.
Not love.
Not love?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to.
Well, now, but this is a whole other show.
What are we doing?
I'm
going to get depressed now.
Rock Band Blitz.
Yes.
All right. So it's in a vein. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to explain it because it's in the vein of the old Harmonix games, amplitude, frequency, that kind of style with the multiple tracks. Where you'll have different tracks for the different instruments, including vocals. And you're basically going along those tracks as the song plays and playing the notes on those individual tracks. And each track will have a left.
You change difficulty settings, or is it just one difficulty?
No, it's just the one.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And each track will have two different notes. It has a left and a right note.
Yeah.
And what
Which
control
you use
style
the
are you using?
joysticks for.
I changed
It's
it.
kind of weird.
I
yeah.
did that first for like a whole weekend.
Yeah.
And I was like, then I didn't even think about it that I could go in and change. And I saw other people talking about changing the controls. And I'm like, oh yeah.
I tried switching it, and it was still kind of hard for me.
Was it?
But it was probably because part of my brain was still attached to doing it.
I fought through it because the learning curve was bad after I did a whole weekend of using the sticks.
Yeah.
And then I switched over to using the triggers for the left and right.
Yeah.
And it became much easier for me.
The freakish setting is
exactly.
is what it is. Yeah.
So it took a while for me, but once I got the hang of it and got my brain switched around, it became a lot easier for me to control. So I did like it. So what you're doing is bouncing between the tracks and hitting as many notes as you can, because it's basically score based, and you get points for each note you hit. You don't get any kind of like deficit for missing notes. So you're basically just wanting to play as many notes as possible.
And you're also building up a multiplier.
That's
the only deficit, is that it pushes back your next, if you miss a note, then it pushes back the next multiplier boost that you get by one more note.
Each song will have sections that it's divided up into. So let's say 4 or 5 sections of the song. And you're wanting to basically max out your multiplier on every track before you hit that next checkpoint that basically is the next section of the song.
Because it'll reset the cap.
Right.
Because you have a cap of like 5 levels or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
4 levels, and so then it has
so you can go up to a 4 times multiplier.
Right.
And so when you hit the next section of the song, it'll basically raise you up, and it'll make the bottom whatever lowest multiplier you had. So if you got everything up to 4, it goes all down to 4, and now you can go up to 8 for the next section.
Right.
However, if you got everything to 4 except one of them, and it was still at 1 times multiplier, it doesn't move for the next section.
Right.
So the impetus there is to make sure that you're bouncing around and upping them all, and then playing whatever has the most amount of notes in it.
Right.
On top of this, there's all kinds of like other power ups that are in the mix as well.
But I had no idea how I was building things up, and so I would just tap the X button every once in a while to see if something would go off. I'm like, did I get something? Oh, I don't know.
There's different power ups. There's one that's basically done like a star power kind of thing, where you
I think it's the one available in the demo.
Build up the time, or you build up your power, and then you can. There's different kinds. There's one that like plays an auto track for you. So if you set it off, it's basically like a bandmate, I think it's called. And so it'll play the whatever lane you're in, it'll auto play those notes while you have the power. And then you can go and play other lanes. So that's one I usually default play, but I don't think that gives you the most amount of points. I just try to do that to get my multiplier up higher.
Yeah.
But then there's like
a 2 times.
There's a 2 times one there that gives you a higher multiplier. Then there's like a pinball that launches, and the pinball like bounces around, and you got to hit it with your cursor that you're moving around the tracks, and it hits notes for you down the path.
I see.
There's one that's like a big tire tread. I can't remember what it's called, but it basically goes and plays a bunch of notes.
Tire.
I don't really understand what any of them do. They don't tell you a lot of information when you unlock them, like what they do or how they operate. I don't really know how you're scoring points on some of them. So, or like what's the difference if you launch it when you have full power versus when you only have half. I don't really know.
Oh, you can launch it without being full power.
Yeah, there's like you can do it. It's like star power where you have the more, that's like in fourths, so you can still do it at the fourth or the half or whatever.
So,
it just lasts longer. So there's that for the star power kind of thing. Then there's also one where each instrument. There's 3 different power up sections. So there's that one with the star power. There's another one that's basically a multiplier or double scoring on all the different note tracks, and those are individual. And then there's another one that puts things on the trails. Right. So there's like a bomb that you'll hit,
that's the one
and one of the notes will be a bomb, and it'll explode like anything around it. And there's a couple of different options for those. Here's my problem. Okay, so I love the game in theory. Well, I know we talked about it, Craig, because we were talking about it on Twitter a little bit.
Yes.
About it not being exactly what you were expecting, and I had a lot of fun with it at first. However, I think that when I was playing songs I didn't know, I didn't have fun at all because I didn't know what I was supposed to do, because half of the game is knowing where you're supposed to be to play the most notes.
Sure.
And so if I'm doing a song that I've never heard before, I don't know if it's got a bunch of guitar. I don't know when the vocals stop.
Right.
So let's say you're playing a phrase that only has a limited amount of vocals.
Right.
And let's say I was concentrating on drums and bass or something. And so by the time I get them up to the multiplier, the max multiplier, and I go over to work on everything else, there's no more vocals for this whole section.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, I don't know that because I don't know the song. when I would play a song I knew, it
Yeah.
was fucking awesome. Like, because I was flowing around and the flow, it just fit like a glove at that point.
Yeah.
Because I know, okay, well, now you need to get the vocals because then it's going to go to a solo and I can get those there. And I was bouncing around and it was really natural. And the progression was really well done. But anytime I played a song that I wasn't familiar with, it wasn't the same kind of feeling and I didn't have much fun with it at all. It was kind of odd.
Yeah, you know, I played the demo 4 times, like all 3 songs in there 4 times, just because it just wasn't clicking for me, and I really wanted it to click for me. And I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, well, maybe different times of the day, maybe maybe after work, or maybe on a weekend, or something like that. You know, I was really giving it different situations, and I'm like, maybe I just got to get used to it. And it just never really clicked for me. And I think one of the things is, I've always said about rhythm games that the reason I like them is because it's a fun way to listen to my music and all that. And I guess I was kind of wrong about that. It is a fun way to listen to my music, but I kind of like, what I like about rhythm games, most rhythm games, is sort of the interactivity with the music. Like,
Playing the instrument.
The stuff that I do affects the way that, you know, the sound of it.
Yeah.
And so it invests me in, I always want this song to sound good, even if it's not a song I really care that much about. And so, you know, that kind of pushes me to do the gameplay more and, you know, to grind out and learn things and all of that. And with Rock Band Blitz, there's really no interactivity between the music and what you're playing, other than the notes and, you know, the things that you're hitting are spaced out in rhythm with the music that you're listening to. And so, you know, you can, like you were saying before, you can mess up notes, you can jump between tracks. It doesn't matter what the hell you're doing. You know,
And really,
you're just searching out for score.
And the only audio difference it makes is whatever track you're on is kind of elevated, so that's what you're hearing more.
Right.
You know, and everything else is kind of in the background, so it's not even necessarily a good sound sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the thing, is that as I was playing it, I was just really fixated on, you know, I got to hit these notes. I wasn't even listening to the music. I wasn't even trying to pay attention to matching it to the rhythm or anything like that, you know, half the time. And so it really felt away from the music for me.
I think that's what, and that's maybe what it fits in with me with when it's a song I'm familiar with.
Sure.
It became much more fun because I was able to jump to this section.
Because you naturally found that stuff.
Exactly, because I knew where to go just by the nature of the song. However, with Rock Band, when you play regular Rock Band, it's kind of fun to play songs you don't know because you learn the songs that way. And in this, if you don't know the song, you're not going to learn it.
Yeah,
you know, too much, because you're just going for the score.
I agree, because Rock Band, that was one of the things. I played songs that I hated. Like, literally, I don't like.
Oh, there were some that I hate.
I don't want. Well,
that I refuse to play.
Yeah,
Me too.
But that's the thing. There's like some
But you
that,
play 'em.
like, I will never buy that CD.
Yeah.
When it's on the radio, I
yeah.
don't stop to listen to
Right.
it. But when I'm playing
There's that
Rock
stuff
Band,
in there, definitely.
I know what's coming up, and there's a cool, like, you know, there's a cool button motion coming up. There's this coming. I know that's going to happen. And this game, when I got into it, it just, I got that, I talked about in episode 94, that Beep Burp Bing Bang Bosh game. Where, like, I could see it being fun, but my brain just won't work with it. And this game is the same way. Like, it's just so much information for me.
Yeah.
Not against the game, because I was playing one of the Foo Fighters song that's on there, and I was having a fun time. And once I kind of got the hang of it, I was enjoying it. But then I was just like, I gotta get over. It just felt like there was so much going on, and almost like I felt like I was multitasking. Like I was trying to cover up too much, where I was playing it too hard. And then when I would pull back, then it wasn't good enough. So I couldn't find my happy medium. And then when I would change other songs, I'd mess up big time. And I was just like, nothing against the game, because it's just not for me. It's not my kind of game.
Right.
But yeah,
the Foo Fighters song was really where I started to notice things, because I was halfway through the song, and all of a sudden I noticed, hey, I like this song. And it dawned on me that I wasn't paying attention to the song up to that point at all.
Yeah.
I was just really trying, what do I need to do next? I got to jump over here, I guess. And, you know, where are those points at? You know, where are those buttons at? And that's very different from any other rhythm game experience that I have, because, you know, it's that I actually gain a small attachment to those songs that I normally would hate, because, you know,
they're fun to play on an instrument.
What I'm doing is a part of listening to that music.
And this applies to the songs that I was familiar with when I would play it.
Yeah.
When I talked about those games or those songs being much more fun, with Rock Band, this is the one thing that I did like about Blitz the most, probably, in that when I was playing a song I was familiar with, in Rock Band, it made me hear songs in ways that I never heard before.
Yeah.
Like I listened to songs when I grew up, and now all of a sudden I'm listening to a guitar part or a drum part that was always part of it, but I never paid attention to it. And now I'm hearing like intricacies about it.
Right.
And what Rock Band Blitz I noticed that was happening to me is I wasn't just listening to one particular part. I was now aware of every piece of the song at the same time. Whereas in Rock Band, I'm just concerned with guitar.
Right.
So this was kind of awesome because now I'm like paying attention to the drums as well as at the same time guitar. So I'm getting this guitar. Now I need to listen for when the drum tracks are going to change, and I can jump over and do that. And so it was kind of yet another way for me to hear a song and experience the entirety of it. But again, that was only with songs I was familiar with, because the ones I didn't know, I'm like, whatever.
It's hard to learn it because you got
because everything's happening.
800 other things going on.
Exactly. So the main draw of the game is obviously to like in Rock Band is to get 5 stars, gold stars, and that's all done by score based and by leaderboards.
I got nowhere near.
Right. And so here's the thing, because it's all driven by power ups, and so there's so many different permutations of combinations of power-ups, and the leaderboards don't tell you what people use. So for instance, with DJ Hero, and this is what I keep going back to, when those leaderboards, they'd show you special decks that people use, because that was important, because it drastically changes your score in some of those things. So in Rock Band Blitz, you can see somebody's score, but you have no idea what 3 power-ups they used. And you're dealing with 3 power-ups, and I think there's 5 or 6 on each level. So I don't know how many combinations that is, but somebody can do the multiplication and tell me, because it's impossible to try and figure out. And I know you'll probably be able to drill it down to these 3, probably give you the most points.
Right.
But if you're doing a score challenge with a friend, I don't want to play this one song 18 times to figure out what combo you use that got you the most amount of points. You know what I mean? That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so it immediately puts me off, and it makes me half of the reason I played Rock Band and keep playing Rock Band is to increase my score and do better, and to get a gold star, for instance.
Right.
And in this, it seems like, I could play this song and I got 300,000. Now I'll play it again and I'll try different like mix up of the things. I'll hit just as many notes and I'll get 250,000. I'm like, what? Like, I don't want to do this to find out what the max is. Like, I don't want to min-max it, and have to do that.
Right.
And it just doesn't seem very fun to me.
Yeah.
So it's a weird balance where I had fun doing it, but the score thing seems kind of,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the whole basis of the game.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, like, it seems at odds with how I want to play it.
Yeah.
And how I just want to have fun with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a kind of a mixed bag. I was expecting to have more fun with it, and I did when I first played it. But again, I think now it just defaults to, if I know the song, it's fun. If I don't, it's not at all. And I kind of don't really have fun playing with score challenges with people, because I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
They need to tell us what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you have to buy those power-ups. That's the other thing. There's a monetary system in the game where you earn coins for playing songs, and you have to use power-ups in songs. You have to spend that money. So it's a constant struggle of, I can try and figure out what this is, but now I'm spending money, and so I have to go earn more money by playing songs without these, which means I'm not going to get the high scores, so I can earn coins and then go play on the songs that I do want to increase the score.
You use the coins just to unlock it. You have to
every time you use them.
I see.
And I think they recently, like last week, they listened to some feedback from the community.
I heard there was an update to that.
They changed, yeah. So they changed
cheaper now or something like that.
Yeah, they lowered the price on some of them, and they increased the amount of coins you get for certain things, which is nice. I'm glad they're listening to that, and I think they can do that without patching. They can do it like on their server end, so they can just change those values without having to patch the game, which is nice, because they can fluctuate it, depending on how the community's going. And they do challenges through their Facebook integration that they have with it, where there's challenges on the Rock Band network on Facebook, where you can join those challenges, and it's like playing these certain songs or doing this certain thing, and they'll give you like thousands or 15,000 coins or 1,500 coins, and so you can do those extraneous things, but it just, it's nice that they're doing that.
Right.
But I just am not feeling the compulsion to keep playing the game right now, except unless it's a new song that I want to, try and see how it experiences in there. But
you got a pretty heavy library too.
I do. Yeah, I mean, it's not as much as a lot of people's, but I think I'm well over 600 songs at this point in my library. So there's a lot of that there are fun to play in there. But
that's the other thing too that comes with that game that is awesome. I mean, that's
that you ultimately have that built in right away.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
I agree.
That is a huge pull for that game. For like, even though it didn't grab me, I'm still going. If I do like it,
well, you know,
because I haven't erased it because I want to sit down and play it some more and just kind of give it a little feel and just some more time. But
it's the brilliant thing with those challenges too, because they'll challenge you to songs. They're like, okay, these 4 songs, and some of them will be DLC, so it'll maybe push people to go buy songs that they didn't have before too.
Sure.
Which is interesting. So
yeah.
So I don't know. It's a mixed bag for me, but I would recommend checking it out. And if you do play Rock Band, if you have an interest in even 10 of those songs, it's a deal.
Yeah,
at the $15 for 25 new songs. So that is part of the hook, in my opinion.
That is pretty beefy. I mean,
and you can play them all across
on your Rock Band.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I just have run out of disk space or hard drive space.
Your hard space?
My hard space is
full,
tapped. So anyway,
excellent. All right, well, let's round out XBLA this episode with Mark of the Ninja, which, like a ninja, showed up on Friday this week.
It did.
Just a couple days ago.
Payday.
Yeah.
Ninjas get paid.
Wow.
Sells for 1,200 Microsoft points
My
from
ninjas.
Clay Entertainment and Microsoft Studios. And, I didn't bother doing any background checking on the developer at all.
Why would we?
No, but what I'm saying, when I went into the game, and I started up, and I'm like, I think this is people who made Shank.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was, because they have that really distinctive art style in there.
Yeah.
And the really fluid animation, which also actually reminded me of Dust, an Elysian Tale. But whereas Shank didn't really sit with me, they were going for really a grindhouse violence going on in there. Mark of the Ninja, as you can guess, is a ninja game.
What?
It's all stealthy, but it's not like you have to do things in this one specific way. And that's one of its greatest strengths. And really, I think the game is awesome. I played through the demo, purchased it, realized then that I had to play through that whole level again because I turned it off. It doesn't do autosave when it's in demo mode.
So if you start to enjoy it, you should just buy it right then. And not have to go through the whole
quit
level.
the game, Well, it wasn't too bad.
Or you can buy it in the game.
I did better. Yeah, you can buy it while you're in the game.
Gotcha.
And it's pretty phenomenal because there's basically you'll have these objectives, and how you get to the objective and what you do along the way is really up to you. Oftentimes there's more than one way that you can go, and you can be, they advertise it as choose your path or whatever, the path of the shadow, where you're just running around hiding from everybody and just sneaking by everyone. Or, path of the hunter, where you're trying to stalk everybody and kill them, or path of nightmares, which is awesome because you can terrorize guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to ask, is there path of the insult? No. So I can be Insult Ninja?
No, unfortunately.
It took episode 100.
I don't know. I haven't unlocked all of those outfits. Maybe there is an Insult
And you can just pop
outfit.
up and make fun of everybody?
Yeah.
Nice hiding spot. And then leave.
Exactly.
Because you can hide.
There you go.
And so one thing that's nice is that it's got a pretty good checkpoint system.
Yep.
Because I'm a stealth perfectionist. And so I'll get through something and I'll be like, that wasn't quite right for me. And then I'll go back and redo it.
Somebody saw me.
I'm like, that was sloppy. You can do better, ninja. It's like ninja drill camp.
You got to whisper it, though. You can do better, ninja.
All with shame.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's no time limit for the game, so you can spend forever just kind of creeping around on walls. And maneuvering is a dream in there. Like, that was one of my big concerns, is that, with a stealth game, especially where you have to kind of creep around and stuff, it can be difficult to maneuver around things. But, he can climb, you climb up a wall and then you push up and it, tells you climb through to the ledge, and so then he just climbs to the ledge and you can keep climbing. Basically, you stick to all, not all ceilings, but all walls. Well, most walls. Kind of. He's got his little claw things. That's what he's doing. Yes. So, and there are challenges in each level. Basically, I mentioned outfits. There are things you can purchase. There are upgrades you can purchase for new ways to kill guys and sort of performance upgrades for you. And then you can also buy new equipment because there's distraction equipment like smoke bombs and noisemakers. And my favorite one, which I just got, which is a cardboard box.
Nice.
Snake style?
Yeah, which you just throw on and you're just sitting there.
That is so perfect.
And I love it when there's just a dude who's standing in one place, turning back and forth, and he turns. I get my cardboard box, he turns back, and there's a box there that wasn't there before, and he doesn't care.
That's right.
I love that.
It's a Metal Gear Solid.
So the dog
Exactly.
comes and pees on you.
Yes, the dogs can smell. There are dogs in the game, and they can smell you. Let me get back to that. Anyway.
Yes.
There are also attack weapons like spike traps and caltropes that you can throw on the ground. And what was the other one? There's flare. No, flares are a distraction. I'm trying to remember. Oh, there's like these poison darts that you can throw that drive people insane, or they have hallucinations.
Nice.
So you can
Very
run up and
cool.
kill them all. Well, what's also great, I love terrorizing guys because they freak the fuck out. And so I've had rooms where it's like 2 giant dudes and like a smaller guard down in there, and I'm like above on a level, and I just killed like one dude who was patrolling up there, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And like the small dude and the big dudes are like looking at each other, and I drop the body down through the floor in between them, and the big dudes don't care. They're like, what the hell is going on here? Little dude freaks the fuck out, and he's like backing up, and then he like just starts opening fire on the other guys.
Nice.
Awesome. That is
And
so
apparently, because there are like achievements for like terrorizing them and making them walk off like a ledge accidentally, and all sorts of cool stuff like that. And that's really what's really fantastic about it, is that you can develop your character in a particular way. You can play in a particular style, because you also unlock these outfits, and each outfit has basically a perk, but also takes away one of your basic things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, there's the outfit for the hunter, where you automatically complete any sort of stealth kill that you're doing, and something else happens, but oh crap! Now I can't remember. Let me talk about a different one where, where one of the downsides was, you can't stop time when you're throwing an object or something like that. Okay. Anyway, there's just so much to it. It's really hard for me to encapsulate all of it all at once. But I like all that variety in there. I like the fact that you can kind of stalk enemies in different ways, and there are lots of different kinds of enemies. And one thing that's really cool is that they really emphasize light and sound in there. As as it's a stealth game, light and sound are your biggest enemies, and so you can throw a bamboo dart at that lamp to turn it off so they can't see you, but they're going to hear that and then they're going to go check it out.
Right.
And what's really cool is that they represent all of that stuff with like these ripple echoes that come out and allow you to know basically how far out it reaches. So I can run past, I can run on this floor that's just above these other dudes, but there's going to be like these echo ripples coming out that is alerting them that I'm fucking running through this vent.
I like that when that was one of the aspects that I really like, because the whole stealthy part to the game was a real big turnoff for me.
Right, I know you have a hard time with stealth.
And playing it, there was still some moments where I was having trouble with it, because I'm all balls out kind of guy, and just shoot you, go and running. Well, you can't do it in this game.
You cannot do that,
and you can't do it. You can do it. It's not really even good to do it at all. Not even one guy, because just taking them one-on-one is pretty hard.
Basically, you have a sword, but your clan has this honor code where you can only use your sword if you can kill them with one hit.
Yeah.
So if you're taking on a dude head on, you're going to be kicking him.
You got to knock him out.
You can punch him. That
sounds like a terrible
You can
honor
do
code.
some other things.
That sounds more like it was put in by somebody to stop you from doing a certain way.
Exactly. So, like, right off the bat, I kind of was like, oh, great, it's going to be one of these games. But really, it's not one of those games. And I love the whole sound aspect that you were talking about, because it allows... Especially if you're kind of creeping and sneaking and hiding, you can see the guys above you and their footsteps. So you know where
see
they're
these tiny
at,
little ripples.
Because you're hearing the sound too, which I really like about it. It's on both sides, and so you know how far this sound's going to travel too.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Half of your problem with stealth games, or half of a problem with stealth games, in my opinion, is that sometimes it's so finicky, and there's no notification of, well, why did this guy see me now?
Right.
Like, and so if there's defined characteristics of this is how they see you, and you can see it. That makes it a lot easier.
And what's
to play.
really neat is that if something does catch their attention, like they caught a glimpse of you and you ran back real quick or something, or you knocked a light out or whatnot, like a yellow circle appears there to let you know they're going to go investigate that spot, which can be great for setting up traps and stuff.
Yeah.
Because here was one of my best situations. So there are those big guards that I told you about before. They're special. You can't just run up behind them and do a stealth kill. By the way, stealth, you can do a stealth kill. It's a one-hit kill.
Yeah.
And when you go to do it, you get close behind them, you press X, and then it gives you a direction to hold, and then you have to press X again. That's the only comboing you have. And you have a fair amount of time to do it.
Yeah, you do.
And if you do it accurately, it's a quiet kill. If you do it inaccurately, you still kill them, but they make noise.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's a gross kill.
Yeah. So people can hear you. Anyway, so
I want to play this game right now.
I'm
bummed I didn't check
you
it out
really
now.
should. So
My weekend's over, and I can't go sit and play it.
So these big guys, you have to stun them before you can kill them. You can't just outright stealth kill them.
Yeah.
And so I was in this area where there was like all this broken wiring, and if I flip this switch, like all this electricity comes through. And so, I lured one big guy out there and I killed him from that. And I was trying to hide his body in a vent because you get extra points. Because you get points for your kills and then for other things that you do.
Yeah.
So you get an extra 250 points if you just hide a body. So I always if there's a vent nearby, I just shove them in there. Anyway. And then I walked to the next area and there's another big dude and a little guy and they're just chatting with each other. I'm like, fuck, how am I supposed to get these two guys? And then I'm like, wait, I got a dude back here. So I went back, pulled the dude out of the vent, set him up on the stairs underneath, like on the other side of the hanging electric wires. And then I crept back over the doorway where I could see the two guys talking, threw bamboo darts at them, which don't do any damage but get their attention. So they're like, what? And they turn around and they just catch a glimpse of me running away from the door. So the big guy sends the little dude out there to go check it out. And so meanwhile, I've crawled back into the vent underneath the stairs and I'm peeking out from in there watching him come in and he's checking it out and then he sees the dead body up there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we got a down guard over here. And he walks up there. And so as he's walking by the electricity, I come out of the vent and flip on the switch. That instant kills him because he's weaker. And so then I go back, I turn the switch back off, go back in the vent. And a few seconds later, like the big guy's like, why the hell didn't that guy come back? And so then he comes to investigate. He sees the bodies, walks into my trap, and I flip the switch. And
nice.
Yeah. So it was pretty fun. I was very proud of myself. I was setting that up for a long time.
Yeah, that was the really enticing point about the end of the demo. It's like I got to the end of the demo, and then they show you like these paths.
Oh yeah,
and they show you the way.
Yeah,
of
that
the
video.
They show you the way of the hunter, so that you can set up these traps. And I'm like, oh, I never got to that part. That's pretty cool. And they said way of the nightmare, and I'm like, oh, great. And then I'm like, oh, that's just sick.
Yeah,
because they were like hanging people to like set, and then shine the light on them, and then you see this guy just running scared away from it, and I'm like, wait,
it's awesome.
So then I was waiting. I'm like, Craig's on the leaderboard. We're gonna talk about this game. So yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
So those paths, though, when you're talking
totally
about it, is it you can't switch between them, or is it like you play the whole game, you decide what path you want to go?
No, you're not set in it. It's basically the way you want to play. It's your play style. What they're saying is that you can play to whatever play style you want.
Okay.
I mean, there are different outfits, but basically, I mean, as you progress through the game, you're going to be unlocking pretty much all the upgrades.
That's why I was wondering.
So you can change it up.
Because in that little thing, they show you like picking upgrades. So I was wondering if you only get to pick so many. But
you do. You have your bamboo darts always. You have one distraction item and one attack item. Unless you're wearing a different outfit. For example, if you're wearing the outfit of the hunter, then you have no distraction items and 2 attack items.
Oh, okay.
If you're wearing the way of the shadow, you have 2 distraction items, no attack items, and you have no sword, so you can't stealth kill anybody.
No.
And if you're wearing the nightmare, you're naked.
Yes.
It's just this pixelated
dangling around.
Pixelated dangle.
And then you just hang upside down in rooms and make people scream.
Correct.
Awesome.
It's just all teabagging, Spider-Man style. Zoop, drip, zoop. Never mind.
Oh, I don't even know what that's happening there.
But the story's pretty great too. I love all the cutscenes.
Really yeah.
Well, and the in-game animation as well. It's really. I mean, it is very, very violent, just like Shank was. But I think for me, in Shank that was kind of a turnoff, but in here it's not a turn on. But I'm
really into it.
I'm not turned off by it because I think just because it's not like constant violence. It's you really have to work in order to get that assassination. Yes,
you don't just run up and hack a guy's head off.
Exactly,
you have to think out this whole situation.
Precisely, you don't whip the chainsaw off your back and
and just chop
tear
everybody
into
apart.
him. Correct.
He's got an awesome tattoo too.
Yes, that's where his power
Choo-choo.
comes from.
That's sweet.
You gain new abilities as you go through. It's pretty sweet. But I think I mentioned briefly each level has challenges. There's score challenges, and they tabulate scores in a really cool way because no matter which way you're going to go, you're going to get some points because you can get points for the people you killed. If you choose not to kill anybody, there's a big total bonus point thing for that. If there's people you distract, you get bonus points for that. If there's people who you're hiding in things and they just walk past you, oh man, because you get a little title with whatever it is. And my favorite one was Oblivious because I killed this guard, dumped his body in a dumpster, and then I just like chained my way up to like a lamppost or whatever, and another guard walked by, and as he walked by this dumpster with his body kind of hanging halfway out of it, it said Oblivious, 200 points or something like that.
Because he didn't even notice.
He didn't notice
Nice.
it, yeah, because I hid the body from him.
One good gameplay thing about it that I enjoyed was when you hit B to like hide in something, but you can also if there's another item like another object that's
in
close
range
by, you can slide to that by hitting B.
Sweet.
So that really helps with. I mean, that helped me in the whole stealth aspect of this game.
Yeah.
Like it was really like that's a big aspect, but it's not like a deterrent. It's not like just pissing me off.
Yeah.
So cool.
So you move a lot slower through the levels than you would in a lot of other games. I think people might draw some parallels to it for like Shadow Complex with all the rooms that you try to get through. Although it's not so much like you gain new abilities, so then you can go back and go through rooms. That's more like Dust, I suppose. But
Sure.
But just kind of, I don't know, the enemies themselves kind of reminded me of that as well. But you move, you're very methodical the way that you move through. Although if you get really good, you could probably get flying.
Yeah, and that's what got me too. Is like again back to those videos. Like they showed one guy just flying through
the
that
way of
one.
the shadow.
I'm like, holy buckets of buckets, that guy. But I mean, I'm glad that you enjoyed it as much as you did because I'm on the fence and now I'm over it and
I'm nearly
kicking
through
that fence to the curb.
I'm nearly through the story, and apparently there's a new game plus as well,
Nice.
according to the achievements. So
I wish there was more XBLA games I needed to play. Seriously. Not good.
that's why I don't play pinball.
I still haven't played Dust.
I haven't finished Dust. I know.
I need to.
Come on.
You know what else I should...
That's good.
No, I'm not going to start.
I like the end.
I'm not going to start tallying up all my embarrassments.
No.
Seriously.
I'm telling you.
Well, cool. I'm going to check it out, and Sean's...
Oh, I'm definitely. Yeah,
I heard you were
yeah,
over the fence.
Yeah, I'm buying it. Yeah. Any Avatar awards? Do you know of?
There are.
See, that's what I'm loving. What's going
There's
on?
shirts.
Yeah, that's fine with me. It was so long that they weren't around.
I think it's
now
for
they're
completing
back.
the game and completing New Game Plus.
Cool.
Cool.
Darksiders 2 had shirts.
Did it?
Nice.
Got one.
Why'd you only get one?
I may have gotten other ones, but the one I wanted I was so happy that I got it. That's why I'm wearing it right now.
Are we done with XBLA?
Yes.
Let's talk about some Darksiders then.
I thought I was segueing.
It was.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just making sure.
Oh, sweet. But about 38 hours of this game.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And that's finished?
I finished it.
Wow.
I still had multiple side quests that I had started, but it was getting to the point where I'm like, I want this game to be over with.
Oh, that wasn't like you played through and then you went back and played an addition.
No, like I had side quests that I
I
was like,
heard it was long.
it was long. Like when I got
cow.
ported to my another world and then into another world and then yet into another world where I had almost 4 maps to deal with.
Okay, I was curious how they were going to handle that because I'm like, how is it such a long game? This area isn't very big.
No.
But they go to other areas?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
Yes, which are about the same type of area, but they have a different skin, and one was like you're in hell, and the other one you're in heaven. I think the other one was purgatory.
Okay.
And then you had Earth that you got to go to, and then you were in your regular wherever you were from, War World.
But you're obviously having enough fun with it to put in 38 hours.
This game was it was to the point where I'm like I felt like I was close to the end a lot, and where The rule of 3
You had like
was,
an abusive relationship with it.
the rule of 3 was bashing me over the head. Like, bashing me over the head. Like, and the rule of 3 meaning, like, in any video game where you have 3 components, or you have to fight the enemy 3 times. You know, you beat him down once, and then he's like, oh, I'm Uber guy.
Yeah.
And then you beat him again. I'm this guy. And you beat him. So this had everything. Okay, go unlock the 3 souls so we can get this open. Go save the 3 keys so we can do that. Go through those 3 portals. And so each little room that you went through was exactly the same, with the little tweaks here and there, the enemies, you know. But when you would fight the bosses, then it was like, okay, this is awesome. Or you would walk into a room and it would open up and the visuals were cool.
Right.
That kept me going. But towards the end, it got to the point where I'm fucking ending this game. Like, I wasn't ready to quit it. I'd put so much time into it.
Right.
I had to end the game.
It wasn't going to beat you.
No. And I enjoyed the end. I had a lot of fun with it.
You 007 Bloodstoned it.
It opened up nightmare mode, which I laughed at. It opened up a game plus mode, which I just flicked off. And I mean, it was to the point where I enjoyed the story enough. Like, I liked the story, but they didn't have to do so much for every single level. It just felt like it was dragged out. Like, the first Darksiders was...
Yeah.
It was short.
Yeah. It wasn't short, but it was...
Well,
I thought it was like around 18, 20, somewhere
yeah,
around there, maybe.
around there. Yeah, but it just felt... It felt like...
Or maybe not. Maybe it was only 12.
I felt it was like around... It probably would have been 15 for me.
Okay.
So I usually add another 6 hours to your guys' gameplay. That's usually what I did.
Right.
And the thing about it too is you can fast travel from day one in this game.
Yeah.
And I was doing a lot of exploring at first, and I do that. That's what I do with my games.
Did you regret that after 30 hours?
Well, no. Like
I should have fast traveled more.
I'd get into these other realms.
Yeah.
I fast traveled. I didn't explore at all, so I missed all the little extras or little things you'd run into.
Yeah.
One other thing that got me about the game is I think I was in his tunnel. I think I was fighting this giant like guy riding a spider, of course. I think it was the only spider of the game. Spoiler. But which was nice. But like so I go down this big tunnel and I'm fighting this guy. The tunnel caved in so I couldn't get out. But the problem was when I beat the guy and I got all my stuff and I break the treasure chest open and there's no way out. And I walk around, and I'm watching my arrow, my little triangle, because some of it's dark.
Yeah.
So I'm watching my little guy, my little triangle on the map going around every corner. Mm-hmm. So then I was crisscrossing. Okay, there's got to be a way out of this fucking place. Crisscrossing. Finally, I'm like, okay, YouTube. Looked up some guy. Sorry, I don't remember your name, guy. If you listen to the show, if you do, that's pretty sweet. That's weird how that happened. But anyway.
I'm going to guess no.
Yeah, but he's like 14 minutes in. If this is the problem you're having, what you need to do is hit your map, go to your world map, which you can go to your dungeon map, then hit your toggle, I think it's your right button or your left toggle, and then you go to your world map, and then you fast travel out of it.
What?
Okay. So I was like, well, that's fucking great. Why couldn't they tell us that? So then I'm playing and I get portaled into a room and I'm like, well, at least I know how to get out of here after I beat this guy. Yeah. Well, no, they prompt me how to do it after I beat the guy. And I'm like, well, why did they put that at the very other time? I mean, I wandered through this cavern.
I hope that's a mistake on their behalf.
I hope
Maybe
so
you
too.
play them out of order?
But that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
It seems like they forgot to put it there.
I hope so. I hope so
too.
But
that's terrible.
I mean, there's like it was such a love-hate that I had with this game that in the end, I don't know if I loved it as much as I wanted to, or I think I hated it a little bit more. I don't know. I like where the story's going. I don't think there's gonna put another one out. But I would love if they did a Darksiders 3 and had it be a co-op game. I mean, you know, and had the other two, because 4 of these games, because if the other one's like what would it be, like
up to
80
60
hours?
hours.
Well, yeah, exactly. Go to 60 and then 80 at the end. I don't
120.
I don't have that much.
You can go
time.
Skyrim.
I don't have much time on my hands.
Skyrim level.
But it was just like I kept renting this thing. I should have bought it.
You should have. What were you thinking?
But I finished playing it, and
I think that
I'll never go back. I'll never go back. Yeah, I won't go back to that one.
I think Toys R Us just had you could buy Sleeping Dogs and Darksiders 2 for $60 total.
That's a
$30 each.
That's a good deal, and I don't have the time for either road.
That's true.
Anymore.
So you're done. You finished it though.
Yeah,
you beat it. It did not beat you.
It didn't beat me. There was a lot of cool moments. You get like this cool like portal gun, so it's almost like got a little portal aspect to it,
like
which
in
I
the
thought
first
was
one?
neat. Well, yeah, but that's what
I hated that part about the first one.
But there was some cool aspects to this one, like getting it all pumped up, and they changed it up a little bit. So there was some neat little parts brought in there. The whole story between War and the fact that this was a prequel.
Yeah, they
explain it, and I was like, oh, okay. But it all works out.
I don't see myself finishing it, honestly. So maybe you'll just have to tell me everything.
Really, the end of the first one is the end of the second one.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay.
So,
cool.
It's worth checking out
if you have time
on your yeah, exactly. I don't know. Maybe other people will write in and say, "Dude, that was a 15-hour game."
No, I mean, when we talked about last time, I said I had heard that it was really long.
Yeah,
that had been stretched out.
It was like 37, 38 for me when I clocked it in. So.
Well, I finished Sleeping Dogs.
Because you guys owe me for that. I clocked that in.
That's how it works. Yes. I don't know if those at home know, but these guys get paid on time that they play.
Time card.
I don't know who pays them, but somebody I'm sure
pays
does.
us in entertainment.
Shh. You're not supposed to tell people that. Sleeping Dogs. I finished Sleeping Dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was a little under 30 hours for me on that game. But I don't think I had the rut that you were talking about, and it wasn't as repeated. However, last when we left off with me and Sleeping Dogs, I was talking about how there's hardly any gunplay.
Last time on Sleeping Dogs
right?
and Jeremy.
That's right. Hardly any gunplay. I had just gotten some guns, I think, for the first time. That does increase a little bit as you go through. There are some levels that it does rely on some gunplay.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it. I had some people, I can't remember who, a couple people talked to me on Twitter about it. Like, they were interested to hear about any of the gunplay because they'd heard bad things. I didn't have problems with it. I thought that it was okay.
I didn't think it was bad. I played the demo.
Did you? Okay.
The demo came out.
Good. What'd you think?
I thought it was okay. I wasn't really enticed to try to play the full game.
Okay.
I'll admit. And I can't really put my finger on exactly what it was.
Racism?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
No,
that's what I'm here for, to put the finger on it.
Thanks.
Like a wound.
I really liked the combat stuff and running around and all that jazz. The shooting sequences were kind of meh, but I kind of find that in a lot of games where I'm like, oh, it's got this different thing in there, and then there's some shooting. I'm like, ugh, shooting. That's the way I was with LA Noire. I'm like, ugh, I gotta shoot these guys again. Ugh.
Yeah, and the shooting doesn't happen too much, but there are like the demo level that they gave you of that shooting, where it's those where you're obviously going through this level, you're going to shoot people. You know?
Right.
They do a good thing with the bullet time, and so if you jump over objects, it kind of slows everything down.
I did that.
So if you dive, and that's really how you do it, because you basically get into cover, and then if you vault over it, it kind of slows everything down, and you can totally headshot everybody and clear out really easy. So
I didn't get to that, so that might have affected my interpretation.
Yeah, because it goes much better. And then there's a lot of shooting scenes in that
That's
they
like
mix,
Sean playing Max Payne 3 without doing his bullet time.
that they mix with the shooting with driving.
Buttons, man.
They mix the shooting.
I'm still old school.
A lot of the missions they mix shooting with driving as well.
Oh yeah.
And so you're driving and then hanging out the window and shooting at people, and so that's fun because you're shooting. No, it's fun. It's not.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you shoot them and you totally hit their tires, and if they take a couple shots in the tires, and it's easy to do, and they just explode, or like the cars flip in the air and they just like blow
speed
up.
racer it.
It's
That's
awesome.
That's cool. Man.
You're shooting lots of motorcycles or getting
So
sent
it's
at you.
very movie-esque type and
totally.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the feel I have.
And the action is like over the top, and it's awesome. So I had a blast with it.
Yeah, you're definitely killing dudes left and right in the hand-to-hand combat too, or at least I was, just because I didn't care about just punching.
And
them.
it's really easy to counter. They do a really good job with the highlighting everybody in red, which is one of the things that I had fun with in Batman, but it was kind of a more nuanced learning thing because you had to watch for visual cues in a lot of those things. And in this, they highlight the guy in red, and you always see these coming, and you can hit that Y button.
Although
it's really
I was having a hard time with distance. Like,
were you?
I was punching in the air a lot, and then like a guy was coming at me. I'm like, oh, I got a counter, and then he totally missed me or something because I walked one step, and I'm like, So I was not able to I mean, granted, this was like with 10, 15 minutes with the demo or whatever, but I was not able to fluidly do my combat.
And it's really funny because
as fluid as I wanted it to be.
After playing the game for like 30 hours, I sat down, I checked out the demo today because I wanted to see what levels they had in it. And so I did that first thing in that demo, and I'm like jump kicking everybody. I'm spinning around, countering this guy. I run to this other guy, jump kick him again, grabbing everybody, putting them through the items. Did you do any of the like the?
That's what I was saying.
The environmental attacks.
Yeah.
Because those are awesome. Those are really fun. I like those. You don't like them?
No, I did. There was a ton of them, though. You grab one of them, and there's like you all of a sudden you're in Vegas. Like everything lights up around you.
And that doesn't happen in everywhere. I think they
sure.
spotlighted that for a reason on that rooftop, because it doesn't happen in a lot of places. And so a lot of places they'll give you like maybe 10 guys and there's 3 things you can do.
Right.
So then you still have to deal with the 7, that you have to beat up. But
because it uses them up, right?
Yeah, you can't reuse them.
Except for the ledge.
Yes, you can push them over the ledge. It's awesome.
That's cool.
So when I was mentioning before, I said it did a lot of better things than GTA, with my experience. The more I played it, the more I did find those GTA ruts where I kind of felt like some of the things that set it apart, well, there's a lot of those. Or, it did double up on a lot of things. I was seeing a lot of repetition in some of the missions. Not the main story missions, but the side missions. And also just like, the collectibles. Once I started breaking that down and like trying to go through and get all the collectibles, that became a little less fun.
Sure.
Any of those stuff. When you deconstruct it and you just do that,
Exactly.
But overall, I thought it was great.
Awesome.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I did have some issues with the ending. It was really heavy story driven and really well done story wise. And then I got to the end and it kind of felt like they ran out of time. Like where it got to this natural progression that I kind of thought it was going to.
Sure.
And then they cap it with like 3 cutscenes that are really nondescript and really unsatisfactory for me. I guess it was maybe just I spent like 28 hours playing this game and learning this story and following these paths. And then just have it wrap up in 3 cutscenes that last like 60 seconds.
Then like a bunch of other cops bust in and like arrest everybody and you're like, oh.
Well, that's kind of the feeling I got. It's like, I don't know, you have this protagonist that you kind of deal with. And you get to the end, and it's like you deal with the scene, and it was really unsatisfactory. And maybe that was kind of a real life kind of thing, like how it would play out in real life.
Yeah,
it's not going to have this big.
Yeah,
but it just felt kind of empty to me.
I kind of had that with LA Noire too. So
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway,
so other than that, though, leading up to that stuff, it was fun. I loved running around Hong Kong. I thought it looked awesome. Like doing the city stuff is fantastic, and just getting around. And one thing I mentioned before too, when we were talking about the game, was that I like the cop thing because you kind of got punished.
Right.
I got really over that. Like I was being careful.
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where I was just killing people like all the time, and I was like,
you were off the reservation.
All of a sudden I didn't care. Maybe
you're in too deep.
That's what it was. Because I was also dealing with my contact.
Like Sonny and Crockett.
You've crossed the line. You've crossed the line. I'm like, fuck you, I haven't crossed the line. I'm still a cop. And he's saying all this stuff, and then I'm like killing people. I'm like, maybe I have crossed the line. Like I don't give a shit. Because I went
you're bashing his face, and I have not crossed the line.
Here's what it went from. It went from, oh man, I feel terrible. I just hit that person too. That person got in my fucking way. I didn't want that to happen. That was their fault. That's on them.
The AI should have known better.
That's right.
To jump out in front of my car.
And that's when I thought I was going down that dark path. That's when I realized it. No, but I highly recommend the game still. It's really well done, and you don't see that a lot from those clones.
Yeah.
Quote unquote clones, that get that tag a lot. All right.
Correct.
It's been rented out. I've been trying to. It's been gone. So I didn't even try out friggin' Madden.
Do the demo.
What is wrong with me? Yeah, I've got it there. I need to try it. I'm telling you, Darksiders 2, I'm telling you. I am telling you.
It tapped you out.
Holy bucket.
I hear you.
I was playing. It felt like a work.
Time out. Actually,
good job.
I forgot. I played the demo. I played the demo for NHL 2013.
Did you?
Yeah,
I didn't look at it.
Those games have really passed me by.
Are you out?
Problem. Yeah, unfortunately, because
they've skilled you out.
Well, one is that they have the crazy intricacies now.
Yeah.
So you can be like
stick controlling and everything.
However, you can switch the control settings to like a classic
Tard,
where it's like 2 buttons, like pass and shoot.
Is it classic parentheses Tard?
No,
they opted out of that.
Yes. There's like classic, and then there's also like NHL 94 controls as well, or something like that. Yeah, and so I'm like, I am not smart enough for these right now, and so I switched down to the dumber ones.
And then did you have fun?
I was still like terrible. I'm like, I used to do okay on these, but now they're too realistic.
We're old.
Ice hockey from Nintendo was the only one I was good at. With all the little Marios wearing ice hockey.
I was good on the PS2. On the PS2, those NHL games, I did all right.
I still, I liked a lot of the PS2 ones, and then I played it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
10 or 11, I can't remember.
One of those two, and I was talking about all the cards and all that stuff.
I think it was 11.
And it was definitely difficult, but I fought it and like learned it and got it, but I'm sure I was still playing a dumbed down version of some sort.
Sure,
because I turn off a bunch of penalties and everything so I can clock everybody.
Nice.
I don't want penalties. I just want to beat the shit out of guys.
You're right. That's
Come on. So I should check it out, but I understand what you're saying because it was starting to get really
apparently
complicated.
a new mode where you can be the coach. And so you control the players, but you do it through coaching. So you're kind of in the box the entire time.
Fuck. That's getting closer to what we're talking about. The GM.
I know.
Sitting up.
I think that's somewhere
We're going through all the history of our shows
that's
now.
the route
That's
they're
right.
going with, and with the Maddens too, with
So
the
you can
coach
sit and-
play and stuff like that.
You can sit and play solitaire on your
Go to the water cooler.
Just
talk
sit
about
hire
TV.
people.
Sit up in the box and yell down and cheer on your team. And
Son
then
of
they
a
get beat.
bitch.
Ah, I'm gonna sell that guy.
texting your mistress.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, texting your wife while your mistress is there with you.
There it is.
I believe the term is sexting.
Sexting. No, because now you're texting your wife while
Right.
you're sexting your mistress who's next to you, probably.
Oh, okay. I see.
Because you're in the booth.
Right.
The camera only gets from the waist up. They don't need to see anything below.
Oh boy.
Hey, you're the GM. That's how things roll. This is my game, Craig. Don't get on.
Speaking of rolling, how about we roll out with Transformers full of Cybertron?
Cybertron.
That's what it says. That's what it says in my notes here.
Full of Cybertron?
It's full of Cybertron. it may be a typo.
Maybe. That's written. That's not a typo.
Well, a handwriting mistake.
Typo.
There's not a word for that, okay?
Why isn't there?
Because
All right.
people just said you were stupid when you did that.
Transformers Fall of Cybertron.
Yes, Fall of Cybertron from High Moon Studios and Activision. A lot of changes in this one. You know, I went into it and I started playing it and I'm like, yeah, this feels very familiar. And then as I was playing through it, I'm like, I'm not sure this is familiar. I actually went back and replayed like a couple levels on
Good, because I can't
War
remember.
for Cybertron, and it is really, really different.
Is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, one big thing is that it's much more linear in terms of who you play as, because in War for Cybertron, you'd start at, you could choose between
That's right, you choose
the
guys.
Autobot and the Decepticon campaigns. They were separate because they're basically two sides of the same coin.
Right.
Whereas this one is much more one linear story that flips back and forth depending on where the focus should be.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could choose between 3 different dudes, and those dudes would come with their starting weapon
That's right.
and their power-up ability, and you could pick up other weapons when you're throughout. But yeah, the whole Teltran system, the store there, that's all new. The weapon upgrading is all new. And that was cool, but then also at the same time, it did the same thing that, happens every time you introduce a sort of, you can have any weapon you want anytime you want system, where I got to my second playthrough and I was basically using the same weapons throughout the entire thing.
I don't ever change them.
Right.
I mean, I just stick with what I'm using in the level. I don't seek
really?
out anything.
Yeah.
I don't.
Man, because I played through once on normal and then I played through again on hard. And on hard, it's better to get your better weapons because everything you buy in the Teltran store stays with you throughout the entire campaign.
which is nice.
And then when you go back and replay things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Very
so-
cool.
I just bought all the perks. I haven't
The perks are good.
upgraded any single weapon yet.
The riot cannon is amazing when you get it fully upgraded
Is
because
that like the shotgun one?
it's the one. It's Megatron's kind of starting one.
okay,
It's
okay.
it looks like a big cannon on
Yeah,
your arm.
okay.
And you get to the last round in that thing, and it fires, and it has this massive explosion that can blow out 3 dudes. But even the regular shots are, once you have them powered up, are big explosions. So there'll be dudes in cover, and I'll just shoot at the corner and blow up the corner, and it'll hit them.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with the set characters that you're playing through.
Yeah.
And it's a much more linear experience. I kind of like that.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I was.
No,
just,
I know. I'm saying just
I had forgotten
my comment.
that was the
I
way
like
it was in War for Cybertron. And actually, Sean and I really liked Dark of the Moon.
Yes, you guys did.
Yes.
And I find a lot more. You can definitely see they were trying out a lot of things in
Yeah.
Dark of the Moon
Yeah.
that ended up in all the.
It was so ahead of its time, really.
all the stealth stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you done?
No. He's
Probably
he's
not, but
done,
not
no.
anywhere near.
No. No.
All the stealth stuff, all
Yeah.
that linear character
Yeah.
choosing. There was a lot of stuff in Dark of the Moon that was very obviously it was their rough draft for Fall of Cybertron.
Yep.
Yeah. But I found one thing I found also, and I think this is also tied to the fact that you could upgrade weapons and you could choose weapons and all that stuff rather than just wait until you find a crate and bust it open.
True.
was that, holy shit, this should be called Swarms of Cybertron.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
It's like they took the escalation mode from the first game, and they're like, oh, people like this, let's put it in every level.
One of my notes of the game is that it's harder, right?
No,
It is definitely harder.
That is my note.
I think it's because you can. I think it's because you can buy perks and upgrade weapons.
Agreed.
So you get to that.
They're pushing
level.
you to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm an idiot not doing it.
Even so, I mean, I have everything upgraded, and it's fairly, it's easier.
Yeah.
But it still poses some challenge, and so in order for that to still be not stupidly easy at that level, then they have to make it really hard.
Here's what I remember from War for Cybertron. I remember going through and having fun with it, and like it not being necessarily hard, like it being easy almost.
Yeah.
Where I was really burning through it, and I wouldn't put it down.
True.
And even to the point where I think I was doing lots of close combat. Like it was like almost I'd run up on people and just punch them.
Right.
This game has been frustrating.
Fuck
in
those
parts.
shotgunners.
Yeah.
Because they're nuts. They run at you. They come up. I mean, they
They got
chase
extra
you down.
armor, and they're just gonna blast you in the face.
And they roll around like sons of bitches.
And the AI seems like it's pumped up.
The AI is a lot smarter.
Because before you could like kind of dodge out and find a place to get your shield back up, or maybe find a little energon that will pop up.
Well,
and then now it's like you're in that corner, and next thing you know, it's like two Decepticons are like.
they're going to come from other directions.
I mean, they
Yeah.
find you now. Before,
Right.
it seems like you could find that little spot in that map where you could
Right.
maybe hide out, and they're like, well, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go?" But
two things here that I was reminded of. One is that the health system is completely different, because before in War for Cybertron and maybe even in Dark of the Moon, you had like 4 tiny bars, and then if like one of your tiny bars got depleted, it wouldn't go back up, but if it wasn't fully depleted, it would recharge after a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And so if you lost all 4 bars, you're dead. Here now you have an Energon Shield, which is a separate energy level, and then you have a health system underneath that. Your Energon Shield can automatically regenerate. Your health doesn't. You have to find health for that.
Yeah.
I actually like that system a lot better. I went back and played War for Cybertron. I'm like, how do I manage my health and not die? I was constantly looking for Energon cubes. But the other thing was the AI is most definitely more intelligent. They come in from lots of different angles, and they use cover a lot more.
yeah, they do. Yeah,
They
do.
would use cover before, but it was basically the same equivalent for how you use cover, because it is technically a cover-based shooter, but it's not like a Gears of War you cling to cover sort of deal.
You just hide around the corner.
You just kind of stand so that it looks like they can't see you.
Right. And then you turn your
Behind a
camera
wall.
so you can try
Yes,
and see.
Exactly, precisely.
So I have the angle.
Whereas now they're like ducking behind things, and like they're clinging to stuff, and then they'll run to another piece of cover when it looks like you're outing them from that place, and they'll try to flank around you. And I like that a lot, actually. I like that they're smart, but at the same time, it combined with their wave upon wave and their escalating waves, it would be like, here's a bunch of dudes with blasters. Here comes dudes with blasters and a couple shotgunners. No, they got a couple of missile guys with them. Here come the flying snipers in at this level now. There would be times where I'd be hunkered down in one position because it would be like the furthest back position I could get away from their entrance.
Yeah.
So you can see what the hell is going on.
I'd be hunkered down in there for like 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just picking them off, trying to pick them off as much as I could, because if I tried to get any closer, wow.
See, I was hoping to get through the game this weekend. I was going to
too.
spend majority of my time with it, and I literally had to like step away from it for like a day and a half because I got so frustrated at one of the levels I was in.
Yeah.
Like I tried multiple times. I kept dying. I would get, the more frustrated it got, the more I wanted it to be over with. So I would rush in, like, because I fall into that opposite trap the whole time. Like, if I would just take my time, I would get through it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting madder that it's taking me longer, so I'm running in and then dying instantly, and then I'm getting more pissed.
I sympathize with that.
So I got into that rut, and I kind of I had to step away from it for like a day and a half, and I finally got back to it a little bit today, and I got past that part, and I've been having a blast with it again.
Yeah.
But I just got to another area where I'm all mad now, so I'm like, I gotta stop. So the other one, I kind of felt like I could sit down and run through it in like 2 sittings.
Yeah.
And this one I can't, because I got to give it more time.
I think another advantage was that even though you chose one of the 3 dudes, there was always 3 dudes running around in War for Cybertron.
Yeah, because they took out that co-op feel.
You had AI buddies constantly in that game, and there are times when you have AI buddies in this game, and they do an okay job, I guess.
Most of the time
I haven't
that
really
I've
noticed that
run
much.
in, it's been right before another cutscene or at the end of a level where they like you go,
Right.
what am I supposed to do now? And then they come in to save the day.
Right,
And there's times I see them there and then they eat it.
Right,
Like
that's
just keep
true.
getting killed.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
what?
true.
I guess I'm on my own now.
Yeah, but and you know, just to get all the beefs out, because I'm gonna clear the air here. I loved this game. I had a lot of fun with it. I purchased it and I'm having a lot of fun with it. But that said, my first playthrough, I had 4 critical freezes.
Ooh, like really?
After those long battles, usually when it would switch to a cutscene and then it would just freeze, and I have to stop and redo that whole thing over again after I had already done it probably a dozen times. My second playthrough, I'm not experiencing the freezes. However, I have had some weird missing elements where one was absolutely hilarious, where somebody was supposed to be talking to this hologram of another dude, and for some odd reason both the hologram imagery and the voice didn't come through, so it was totally like, I don't know, have you guys seen that webcomic of like Garfield without Garfield?
Yeah.
It was totally like that, where
So it
one,
was just
one
like
dude was
silent?
just one dude would just talk,
And then it would go to like
and then
nothing.
nothing, and then he'd talk again. So that was hilarious. But then there was another
kinda
one later.
depressing.
Then there was another one later where, because there are a few not really quick time but button sequences that you have to do press to interact with what's going on in the story.
Yeah.
And I hit one of those, and something went haywire, and it wouldn't give me the button prompt. And I knew what button it was, and I would try to smash it. Nothing would happen for a long time, and then all of a sudden, that one's clicked through. I think it may have been because there was some more dialogue going on, and at the end of the dialogue, it just kind of automatically did it. But then the next one just completely couldn't do anything, and it was just stuck there for like 5 minutes, and I had to quit out and then restart it again.
Have you gone online to see if there's any like other folks
I
reporting,
checked.
like,
I didn't
freezing stuff?
find anything predominant, so it might just be, a local error.
Yeah, maybe.
But that added a little bit to the frustration.
Ugh, that's
that
terrible.
said, I loved the game.
That said, you loved it.
I loved the game. It's a really grandiose feel. I mean, a lot of it's overblown, over the top.
Yeah.
And it was with the first one.
Yeah.
It was with the first one too, and there's some goofy things in there, like, I don't know, it's all right to spoil in like chapter 3 or something like that, with like Metroplex. And it's like, I have to target Metroplex to knock off this cannon. I'm like, it's right there, dude.
Yeah.
Can you not see this thing?
His targeting system was gone.
Come on now.
You can't. He's a big robot.
Talking about that epic stuff, though, I mean, there was some pretty awesome shit going on in that whole
my
thing.
God.
Other than the fact that you're inside that dude, because that's kind of gross, but you like to think you're walking around.
For a while there, I thought all of Cybertron was going to transform or something like that. I'm like, that's where this is going.
But it was awesome. I mean, it was pretty epic. There was just some really cool moments like that. And
Yeah.
it really made me wish they didn't have that trailer, because I wanted to not know that he was even in the game, and that would have been even cooler. I
Yeah,
didn't
but
remember.
they had an awesome moment.
that trailer was awesome.
They had an awesome moment after that.
They did.
From the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
And
later,
I don't
'cause I won't spoil it.
want to spoil it for listeners, because that's a great moment. Oh, so cool.
But
cool.
what was neat is that there are lots of little Easter eggs in there, like just fun ones that weren't really specific references to things. But then there were also lots of reference, like the story had a lot of tie-ins to even that very first season of Transformers.
Yeah.
Which ironically, I'm like, I'm going to go out and buy Transformers tonight. And then before I did that, I was having dinner. I'm like, hey, I forgot Transformers is on Netflix. So I watched like episode 4 or something. And there's some stuff in there. And I'm like, maybe that's why they decided that they would have a scout class and Bumblebee would be a scout class and all that. And then I went and got in the game and I was playing it. And I'm like, holy shit, that's like stuff I was doing, or I saw in that one episode there. I recognized what that big thing is there. Like, I was predicting stuff. And the third new origin for the Dinobots that I know of, at least.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
This game?
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't got to, or they kind of mentioned it.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
What they are, yeah.
It was pretty cool. And it gives some homage to, like, at least the Marvel Comics origin that I'm familiar with.
And I don't want to speak in spoilers, because there are some things that popped up that I didn't expect in the game that I knew from knowing Transformers,
right,
that I thought were really cool and really well done, and I wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was being really cynical about the level I was in until it happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. So it totally like floored me, or like put me back down, I guess, where I should be. But one of the things I wanted to mention before, when we were talking about the diversity, or the more linear play of giving you the guy
Right.
instead of choosing, it creates a bigger diverse like level design, because
sure, yeah.
now you can do things targeted towards this one guy,
Right,
not
sure.
having to worry about which one of these three you picked, which they pretty much have to be the same with different guns.
Now that said,
True.
I found that there was a big range in how useful the robot abilities were.
Yeah.
I remember them being kind of a big part of the first game, and Dark of the Moon
Dark
too.
of the Moon, yeah.
The Dark of the Moon, it was a huge part of it.
You could change up.
And here, there are times where it was absolutely essential just to get through the level to use the robot ability. There are times where it was vital just because of combat or whatever, and then there are times where it's like, I could go through this whole level without using this at all.
I haven't got to that yet, I guess, because maybe that's later on. But the ones that I've done so far, and at least the first half of the game, have seemed like the level's almost based around their ability.
You're getting prompted a little bit, especially in the very beginning on some of those, like especially like a couple of the oddball ones where they're telling you to drive.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but some
Well, I mean,
of the
you can
levels
turn
are
those cues off too
Yeah.
if you don't like those.
But like the cliff jumper, like his episode is all basically stealth based.
Yes.
And so his ability, you have to use it. And
Right.
the one with Jazz too, and congrats on them keeping up the racism with Jazz too.
Jazz.
Fantastic.
Why is that racist?
He's a breakdancing.
Of course he's a breakdancing. He's the only robot that
He likes
breakdances.
music.
Of course
His
he
name
does.
is Jazz.
Right. He's the only breakdancing robot one that goes into breakdancing mode.
He's always liked
because he's black.
Why is he black?
Have you heard him?
He imitates what he's heard.
I know.
Seriously, they can they perpetuate that
That's been
stereotype with him.
from the cartoon.
I know they have.
all the way to the movie. Really,
It's
knocks
still
it out of the
funny to
park.
me.
Yeah. What's up, bitches?
Right? Seriously.
It's too bad. It's too bad. He's awesome though. I dig Jazz.
See, I didn't watch the movie, so
I'm a big-
I'm not tainted by that.
Oh, taint me all you can.
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what's going on there.
This turned a
But I'm only about halfway through.
path. Yeah.
I'm about to probably a little
It's
bit
a pretty
further.
long game.
Is it? I guess, yeah, the level seemed longer than they did in the first one to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
My problem is, too, I was kind of meshing like War for Cybertron and Dark of the Moon together, so I
Sure.
couldn't really separate which
That's
game
why I
was
had
what.
to go back and replay
Yeah.
War for Cybertron a little bit. But I think it's pretty sweet.
Sweet.
There was 2 or 3 different times where I agree with Jeremy that I had to put the game down, but I still picked it up. And it wasn't like that part of me from like Darksiders where like this game has owned me, now I need to own it.
Yeah.
It's like I want to continue to play this game because there's still those awesome story moments. And if I just sit down and like relax with the level, then then it changes it up. But that it does. It really whole urgency kicks you in the face, and you're like, this shouldn't be so hard, and you're like, you get so
gotta be more
frustrated to the
strategic.
point, and the fact that you purchasing guns through Teletran, and then you have them and go there and say, okay, well then I'm going to have this one because this one will do good with the shotgunners and
I need to look into that. I need to start doing that stuff. And
some I like some of the robots because they're alt modes. They have more powerful guns, and it's cool.
I know.
It's cool
Well,
to switch over to
the-
that
the
and just start hammering them, and then switch back.
Yeah.
But that's the same way with that game, and having the different. Being able to just change on the fly like that, especially when you get into like the flyers, because then you're flying and then you can jump and then just I do that for a day. I just sit there. The whole level's cleared and I'm sitting there jumping off of cliffs just to transform into a helicopter. So,
And did they have any moment in? I remember from War for Cybertron and the end boss having some issues.
No.
They-
The end is much.
They balance it a lot better.
Yeah,
this
much
time?
more balanced. You get a lot more of that throughout the rest of the game.
That's great.
The swarming has kind of taken that aspect.
Great.
I don't mind the regular ones. The regular bots, man. The regular the Autobots or the regular Decepticons that show up.
Yeah.
Those guys are awesome.
Yes.
And then then they amp it up and you're like, wait, why can't you be like just a little step higher? You don't have to be like 4 steps higher than this guy.
Now you can, like, if a dropship's coming in, you can try to take that out
Yes.
and reduce your numbers greatly. So I think the big thing is that there's just a lot of strategy in there that maybe there was a bit of strategy in the fighting in War for Cybertron, but as you were talking about before,
I just think
a lot of it you could go through. Well, it's
remember
just
bum rushing.
A lot of times people were just kind of swarming around in the open area, and it was a lot more open areas. It would be like a few outlying pieces of cover on the outskirts of things generally, but here it's like cover everywhere. Get into place.
And then there's multiple levels too. There's like multiple, like you're elevated above, and someone's above you.
Yeah.
But I think the reticle, when you're getting shot, I think that's really nice because it just really, I know where I'm getting shot from. Before it felt like like when I was playing the other games, I was just so lost, or I'd turn because like the Decepticons would blend in with the backgrounds, and they still have that dark look to them, but I think they're a little bit on the brighter and crisper side too, where you can pinpoint them a lot.
Oh my god, the graphic quality was the biggest surprise for me when I went back to War for Cybertron. I'm like, holy shit, Fall of Cybertron looks awesome. No, I mean, I thought it looked great before, but it's been 2 years since War for Cybertron, and they have a massive graphical improvement.
See, because I play it and I look the same because I haven't gone back and looked at it.
It's pretty insane.
Well, I felt that way from the demo.
It's pretty insane.
The demo looked really
well,
tight.
I thought it looked really good, but
I
I guess in my mind, I just remember liking how War for Cybertron looked as well, and going back, I'm like, holy shit, that is really different. And there was something else I was going to say, but now I've forgotten it. Oh well.
Cool.
Awesome alt modes. That's all I got to say.
And did you do any multiplayer stuff? Or?
No, I didn't get around to it yet.
Okay, and then there's escalation as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
You can't get enough of it in single player.
It looks like it's pretty much the same stuff that they had in the first game.
And no co-op.
No co-op though. Yeah. No
That's
co-op.
what I need.
And that was in the first game, right?
That was because you could have up to 2 people play
Buddy
with
up.
you, because it was up to 3 people in a level.
That's kind of a bummer.
It is a little bit of a bummer, but again, it's like you were saying, it's a better controlled environment.
Yeah, you got to get
their
that.
level
You have to
design.
lose the other.
Right.
So. All right, so maybe private chat in the future.
Maybe yes.
We have for War, so maybe we will for Fall.
Yeah.
They did a lot of clever things in there.
Yeah, because I would love to talk about some of those elements.
There's so many good callbacks too to the movies and the TV show, and
This one felt-
and the animated movie too.
This one felt heavier in doing that.
Yeah.
War for Cybertron had some of that stuff, but it was really more about creating its own story. But this one, because it's basically a prequel to G1 series.
Yeah. So cool.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, is that it?
That's it.
We're done.
Let's finish it up.
Episode 100
Woo!
is done.
100 done.
Well, just real quick, thanks to everybody
100 done.
who has supported us over these last 4 years.
That's correct.
And we appreciate everybody that listens
And if
to
you
the show.
stuck around,
And
thank you for the last 4 years. Wow, you are awesome.
if you listen to that first episode and are still listening, you're my hero.
Like has stuck the whole time.
Maybe they're like us. They're like, oh, there's a lot of potential here. I'll keep playing this
There you go.
until it gets better. See if it gets better.
Just to clarify, you're an idiot, but you're my hero.
There it is.
What the fuck are,
they the
you
wind
thinking?
beneath your wings?
They are, but seriously, what is wrong with them?
Single tear is falling right now.
I hope they have a helmet. Signedinpodcast.com is our website. Find links to my Twitter, which is Signed In Podcast. What is your guys' Twitters?
The pull list.
The Pull List?
Shonix with 3 X's.
1X.
No, dang.
You got
You don't even know.
I don't even know, man.
You can find links
Man,
to
I don't even know.
Oh, man.
our Facebook fan page. You can check out information over there. All of our past episodes, as well as our forums, which we'd love to hear from you over on our forums, and all the other pseudo radio shows, including The Pull List and 3 Die Block
That's correct.
for Blood Bowl.
Yes.
I just want to clarify. People are like 3 Die Block. What does that even mean?
And you Xbox players.
And I say Blood Bowl, and they
it's
go,
a better
what does that
game.
even mean?
It's a better game than an Xbox game was. FYI.
Don't judge it on that.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. They are much more entertaining than that game was.
You can also email us at comments@signedinpodcast.com. We would love to hear from you over there, which, you know what we heard from? I was going to forward it to you, and I forgot. Because here's the thing.
Son of a bitch.
We appreciate when you send emails, but I'm terrible at responding to them. Because I see them, and I go, oh, that's nice, we got that. I'm going to respond to that guy, and then I forget.
You should do it right
One
away.
I know, but usually I'm busy. I'm such a busy guy.
I'm such a busy guy.
One of the indie games we talked about last time, which I'm spacing on it's the human subject. Was that it?
Spy.
The one where you were like
Human test subject or
something like that.
Yeah.
The guy who made the game wrote us and thanked us for talking about the game. So I was going to let you know. Yeah. And I haven't responded to him. So maybe if he hears this, he'll know.
be like, "You dick!"
I'll make sure I email you, sir. Sorry. And if you listen on iTunes,
Making checks you can't cash.
please leave a review. We would appreciate that.
I like the desperation in your voice
Please.
there. Oh my god.
Next episode. Have you guys heard of this Borderlands game? Because there's a second one coming out.
I don't even want to talk
What
about
the
that.
fuck?
I'm so
2
behind.
weeks.
I'm
Let's
so
see here.
behind.
You have 2 weeks.
Okay.
Let's get caught up.
Following my standard
But I got
mode of
sleeping
operation, I'll play it in 2014,
October?
and then I could talk about it.
Oh,
Then.
No.
Borderlands? Oh.
You played the original, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, but look at the
Was
way
it delayed?
Look, no,
You
that,
got
that
in
one
right
was
away,
on top.
didn't you?
Yeah, but look at the way I've been doing other games.
Yeah.
I know. You're playing all the XBLA games.
I know.
That's not. I would say a problem.
I like,
but it's not a
I
problem.
like
isn't a
things in
problem.
bite-sized chunks.
That's good. And Borderlands is that. Borderlands 2. I don't know anything else is coming out because I have blinders on for Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Stuff.
we're gonna get the band back together.
Yeah.
I don't know who's in that band.
I
but-
can't wait because they got that Necro or the Mecromancer?
Technomancer.
Technomancer?
Something like that.
She goes to raves.
Yeah, I'm all down for her.
She's got glow sticks.
Oh, yeah. I don't even care what she's got. It's going to be fun.
That's well, you're starting to creep me out.
That sounds about right.
I like my chick characters.
Right.
I always have.
You're a raver.
I am a raver.
There we go.
Yeah.
Can we leave
No,
for the 100th time? Can we?
no,
leave?
we got. I thought we were doing this for 100 hours.
Oh, that's right. The special 100-hour
It's
episode.
100
Right.
minutes.
This is
We're
episode
over 100 minutes.
Dang it.
episode 100, part 1.
In part 2,
That's a good idea.
we're going to go through each of our own video game history.
No,
We're
gonna recap.
We actually we have a researcher for that. We could probably get a hold of John.
And
No, I mean like
Lunchbox.
all the way back.
And,
Like,
well, he can look at
like
all
my
of our...
first Tiger handheld game.
Oh, wow. Wow, that would be fun, actually.
doing that.
Video
For a
game
second.
watches.
let's do it.
Now you're in.
I'm in.
You guys would remember all that stuff. I just remember the 5200. That's all I remember.
Here's what I remember. You guys loved Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
Yeah,
I did, yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a good game.
Now can we leave?
Sean,
Yes.
we outnumber him. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm smarter.
No, you're not.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.